But if vast numbers of Muslims across the world believe, and they do, that humans deserve to die for merely holding a different idea, or drawing a cartoon, or writing a book, or eloping with the wrong person, not only does the Muslim world have something in common with ISIS, it has too much in common with ISIS.
States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the peace of the world.
Save diversity for a Skittles package, but even then we all pick our favorites. We like our borders like our picket fences whitewashed.
Muslim countries are not to blame.
If Islam truly is a religion that preaches peace, then how come the world's most troubled spots, the West Bank, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, they're all plagued with Islamic terrorism?
I do follow a religion in which 113 out of the 114 chapters of the Quran begins by introducing the God of Islam as a God of mercy and compassion. I would not have it any other way.
Some might argue that the US invasions of countries like Iraq and Afghanistan are also acts of terrorism.
No, those were acts of war to get rid of despotic regimes.
Or a means of getting at a country's oil.
I mean, if we're talking about terrorists, the world's biggest terrorists are the white superpowers.
People who said they were acting in the name of Jesus gave us the Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, the anti-Jewish pogroms, European colonialism in Africa and Asia, the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda, not to mention countless arson and bomb attacks on abortion clinics in the United States of America.
A boy approaches me in a high school hallway and says, "If you were from Afghanistan, I'd beat your ass." The 3 words I should have said were, "I love you." Instead, I said, "Wish you would."
Explain 9/11.
Do you know how many people died in the Twin Towers strike?
Around 3,000.
I was made fun of for being Mexican until 9/11. Then it was Arab or terrorist. I'm not Persian. That country no longer exists. Iranian American is an oxymoron. Muslim American, a paradox.
And do you have any idea how many people died in the bombing of Afghanistan? More than 15,000 people died. And that's just conservative figures. About 50,000 tons of explosives were dropped on innocent civilians. Men, women, children.
I remember becoming very angry because I was always taught it was impolite to stare. I was always taught that is not the purpose of a hijab. I feel this is why people have stopped wearing their faith unless it can be conveniently concealed under their shirt. Maybe if people don't stare, then God won't either.
But that was because of the Taliban.
Now that you brought it up, did you know that the Taliban was a creation of the CIA to fight the Russians?
They were still harboring terrorists.
Yeah, right. Terrorists that were never found. Just like the weapons of mass destruction that were never found in Iraq. Do you want to get into the death toll in Iraq? 500,000 civilians and counting. And what do Britain and America say when they don't find these weapons? It's simple. They just say sorry. And still refuse to relinquish control of these countries. What do you? Just because you're American, wear a fancy suit, and call yourself the president, doesn't make you any less of a terrorist.
If black is the culmination of all colors, then why do we keep trying to stir this melting pot white?
I'm saying that if you don't stop meddling in other people's countries, you will face a backlash.
If Muslims like you feel that way, then why don't you get out of our country?
We will. As soon as you promise to leave ours.
Islam is just a religion, and like every religion in the world, it depends on what you bring to it. If you're a violent person, your Islam, your Judaism, your Christianity, your Hinduism is going to be violent. People are violent or peaceful, and that depends on their politics, their social world, the way that they see their communities, the way they see themselves.
The word jihad is mentioned in the Quran about 41 times. The words mercy, peace, and compassion are mentioned about 355 times. Contrary to popular belief in most Western cultures, Islam is a religion that preaches peace and tolerance.